Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Amir. So, I'm starting a new series that I'm calling Goon Profile. I've put myself out on the internet and have been analyzing people psychologically, one person in particular. Well, turnabout is fair play, and I figured I'd do a video on myself just so you can hear it from my own mouth. It's okay to feel self conscious about yourself and your life. It's totally normal. I know in this community, the brief time I've been a part of it, I've definitely learned that everybody is funnier than I am, and everyone seems to be at least as intelligent, if not more intelligent than I am. And while a certain type of person may let that hurt their ego, me personally, I've really enjoyed being a part of a community where I can have great, intelligent discussions with people and also where everyone can constantly make me laugh my ass off. So everybody has faults, everybody has aspects of their life that are fragile to them, but it's how you cope with it and how you interact with others that make you the type of person that you are. I'll be sharing with you a little bit of my background psychologically, and then I'll go into a few things that I'm self conscious about, just in case you need some ammunition for making fun of me. Everything I'm sharing with you, I learned myself just from my own analysis as I was learning psychology in school. There's also a lot I have learned from seeing a counselor. So I myself do see a counselor for social anxiety. We meet once every few months, and it has been a very helpful experience to me. It's something I certainly advocate to anyone who has the means to do so. So, first off, why did I get into psychology? So, I went to SFA without having any real idea of what I wanted to do after college. I graduated high school, and you go to college after you graduate high school, so that's just what I did. After taking some gen eds and finally sitting down to mull over the majors, I thought about it in terms of what my life would actually be like doing the job. Psychology ended up just being the one I felt I could do the most for people with. And learning about psychology has given me the tools to improve my quality of life. I got invested in the discipline because that was a change I wanted to empower others with. It's important to me, especially in regards to the people that I care about, that the world is a good place, and I figured being a psychologist, helping people work to better themselves would help that. Now to go into a few more detailed, interesting idiosyncrasies about me, I have a very strained relationship with talking. It's something that I do stress about. You may hear me say things like, sorry, I know I can ramble, or stop me if I'm talking too much. I definitely do easily get to a place mentally where I feel like I'm being an annoyance when I'm talking, especially in a group of people. With the help of counseling, I did nail down a few reasons where this likely stems from, and it has helped me in coping with it. So, first off, in elementary school, I really enjoyed talking during class. I found talking with my friends just a lot more interesting than listening to the lesson. Unfortunately, though, I never had a teacher who tolerated that, so talking was something I was consistently scolded for. and that set up a negative connotation with talking out of place, and I think that feeds into where that feeling comes from for me. Another reason, though, is I used to have a really bad lisp when I was in elementary school. I still do have a little bit of a lisp, um, but it's gotten a lot better. My main problem when I was a kid, I couldn't pronounce my S's or my THs, my hard THs. So if you, for the letter S, S like in house, or TH like in the, you'll notice that when you say those letters, your tongue presses up against the back of your teeth. For some reason, when I was a kid, and sometimes even still now, when I try and pronounce those letters, instead of my tongue going against the back of my teeth, it goes between my teeth and I kind of bite down on it. So words like house and the, as a kid, it would have been house the. And I went to a speech therapist as a kid for a little while to help correct that. But even though it's something I still happen to do from time to time, something I still catch myself doing from time to time. But for the most part, it's corrected. Whereas now I can say a phrase like the bank's house. As a kid, it would have been the bank's house. And if you don't hear much of a difference, I love you. But to me, that is just brutally embarrassing to talk like that. And as a kid, I certainly got my fair share of ribbing based off of that. But at the end of the day, I have learned that if I'm talking to someone who I like and or respect and I'm talking too much, they will politely ask me to stop, and I will. And anyone outside of that, there isn't really any reason why I need to care if I'm being an annoyance to them. So it's something I've stopped worrying about for the most part. I do say it most often when I'm in a new group of people. If I want to fit in, but I'm trying not to be an annoyance, that's when those phrases still come out. And then, of course, there's my nose. I've got a big ol' honker. When I was in 7th grade, I believe, some jerk called me an albatross, which is a goofy looking bird, the big old nose. Pretty dumb now, but in middle school that kind of thing was devastating. And then finally, some thoughts on why I troll from a psychological perspective. So I gave more detail in the True Narrative podcast I was fortunate enough to be on. So to just very briefly introduce it, I got into public access pranks on YouTube just as a form of entertainment to watch while I was studying years ago. Pranking is just a fun activity, both to do and just to witness. Pranking is a healthy act in comedic relief. It's also good in childhood development. It helps establish boundaries. The kids learn how to gauge reactions, and they learn how they can impact the world outside of themselves. It can also be a great bonding experience if you have the temperament. I have a few awesome nephews who are really young and they play pranks on me, like giving me a silly name or hiding and popping out, and being good humored about that is a great way for me to connect with my nephews and grow closer to them. And then all that led me to discovering the GG saga. So why do I troll GG? Well, first off, it feels good to hold superiority over an inferior. Now, I have a longer video planned on that topic specifically, superior versus inferior. I'm still trying to work out exactly how to explain it, so I'll just gloss over it here because those are trigger words for George, and it's funny when he's trolled with them, but I'm not trying to present them as snide remarks. Uh, I mean, it's just a fact that there is superiority and inferiority in the world. And from my viewpoint, everyone in the Goon community is a superior over George. And it feeling good to be superior, again, it doesn't just come from a place of like bullying. Being superior gives you the power to change the world around you in a manner that you see fit. And specifically for George, what's great about being superior over him is that you can instill justice for his moral wrongs. George has definitively done plenty in his life to hurt people. And at least from a legal standpoint, I don't personally feel he has seen fair consequence. So I enjoy seeing him trolled because it clearly takes down his quality of life, and I think that that is fair punishment for the hurt he has caused people around him. And then beyond that sort of righteous viewpoint, it's just objectively funny to see others fail. It relieves our own stress about being what we don't want to be, turning into what we don't want to be. Seeing someone be trolled, it hits on the same level as dark humor. Its extreme nature helps people cope with their stressors. And it's interesting how that practice has such dynamism in its response. I mean, some of the ways in which we communicate with George, I communicate with my closest friends. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of people out there who have close friends that they can kind of rag on each other, and it's not some cruel negative thing. It's a good practice in shaking off your stress. And I mean, if trolling, if making fun of someone is something you do with someone who responds to it positively, the bonding experience is just so much different than someone who responds to it negatively. I mean, George, we make fun of George for being obese, for having bad hygiene, having a crappy job, having nowhere to live. I mean, it's reassuring to view our own lives next to him so that we can indeed conclude that our life is not like his, that we are not like him. And then beyond that, it can be hard to put into words what is funny about trolling and seeing someone react to being trolled. I've found sometimes the most basic emotions are hard to explain intelligently in psychological terms. Why does it feel good to feel good? It just does. It's something we all inherently feel. Sometimes trolling George is funny just because it is. Well, that's my introduction into my self psychology. Maybe there'll be a part two if I can think of some more interesting things about myself. This has been talked about within the community, and a few big names have already volunteered themselves to be a part of this series, which I'm very much looking forward to. Those videos will probably look different than this one, but they'll definitely be more interesting and dynamic. And as always, feel free to say what you want in the comments. Thank you for watching my video, and have a great day.